Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by mountains, there lived a 24-year-old young man named Albert.
Albert?
His mind was very restless. His mind was always full of thoughts. All day long, different thoughts came and went, and these thoughts made him feel uneasy and tired. He always felt sad about his past and worried a lot about the future. Because of these thoughts, his mind was like a storm. Couldn't feel calm, couldn't sleep well, and even forgot how to smile. One day, Albert heard about a faraway village in the hills. People said that a wise old man lived there. The man used to be a famous psychologist in the city. He'd helped many people in his life, and had taught them how to find peace in their minds. Now he was old. He had left the busy life of the city and started living in a quiet village close to nature. Sometimes he gave advice to visitors. Albert became curious and hopeful. He decided that he must go and meet that old man. He thought, maybe this wise man can help me find peace. After many days of a long and tiring journey, Albert reached the village in the hills. When he got there, he saw a small house covered with greenery. On the porch of the house, the old man was sitting quietly. His eyes were closed and he looked very peaceful. Albert walked up to him and said softly, "Grandfather, my mind is very restless. I cannot stop thinking. I want peace in my heart. Can you help me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes and gave a calm smile, said, "So you are looking for peace? Then come with me. I'll give you a small task." The old man stood up. His body was bent because of age, but he seemed strong and energetic. He took Albert to his little yard. Then he filled a glass with water, completely full to the top. The glass was so full that even a little shake would make the water spill. He gave the glass to Albert and said, "Walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back. But remember, you must not spill even one drop of water." Albert looked at him with surprise, but he wanted to do his best, so he accepted the challenge. He held the glass carefully and started walking. The road was narrow and busy. Some people were walking, some were running, shopkeepers were calling customers, and dogs were barking, but Albert did not look around. His eyes stayed only on the glass. He walked slowly and carefully, step by step. People looked at him with surprise, but no one disturbed him. They knew he was learning something important. Finally, Albert came back to the old man and said, "Grandfather, I did it. I didn't spill even one drop of water." The old man nodded and smiled. Then he asked, "That's good. But tell me, did you see the children playing on the side of the road? Did you hear the dogs barking?" Albert looked surprised and said, "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was only focusing on the glass." The old man smiled again and said gently, "That is the secret. Something that was always inside you, but you didn't know. When your mind stays in the present moment, then there is no space for fear, no confusion, and no extra thoughts. You were only thinking about the water in the glass. At that time, your mind became completely quiet. You were not sad about the past. You were not afraid of the future. You were completely calm. This calmness is what you call peace." Slowly, Albert began to understand. This was the peace he was searching for. Peace is not something we find outside. Peace is already inside us when we live in the present moment. Albert bowed his head and said softly, "Grandfather, now I understand. If I want to calm my mind, I must keep my mind in this moment. That is when real peace comes." The old man smiled again. The sun was setting, and the last light touched the ground. Birds were flying back to their nests. Albert started walking back home, but now he was not the same restless young man. He had changed. He was peaceful inside because now he knew how to calm the mind. When Albert reached his home, his face had a beautiful smile. His family was very happy to see him like this. He told them about his journey and everything he learned from the wise old man. Years passed. Albert never forgot the lesson he had learned. He became a happy and peaceful man. And sometimes when he felt any negative emotions, he remembered the wise old man and his task. He would take a deep breath, focus on his task, and would dive into the ocean of calmness. One day, Albert's son came to him and said, "Father, I am going to a faraway city today. I will be back in a few days. Please pray that I get a good job there." Albert smiled and said, "Son, just before you leave, come with me to the yard." Albert took his son to the yard and said, "I have a small task for you." He filled a glass with water and said, "Just hold this glass and go around the whole city. Don't spill even a single drop of water and come back home." Albert's son was surprised, but he loved his father very much, so he didn't ask any questions. He took the glass and started walking. Albert watched his son go away. He knew his son would bring the glass back carefully without spilling any water. But Albert was thinking about something else. A big smile appeared on his face. He understood that his son had learned his lesson well. After a few days, Albert's son returned home. He had got a very good job in the city. He was very happy, but he was also very tired. He handed over the glass to his father and said, "Father, I did what you said. I went all over the city, but I didn't spill even a drop of water." Albert looked at his son and said with a smile, "That's good, but tell me, what did you see during this walk? What do you remember about the city?" The son looked at his father with surprise and said, "I was paying attention to the glass. I didn't see anything. I only focused on bringing the glass back without spilling it." Albert smiled and said, "This is the secret of living a peaceful life. When we fully pay attention to what we are doing in the present moment, then we find real happiness and real peace. When we start thinking about the past or worrying about the future, we lose peace. This is what I learned from my teacher, and now I am telling this to you. Always live in the present moment. That is where life is. That is where happiness is. And that is where peace is." Albert's son thought for a moment, and then he understood what his father was trying to tell him. He hugged his father and said, "Thank you, Father, for teaching me this lesson." From that day on, Albert's son always tried to live in the present moment. He became a successful man, and he was also very happy and peaceful. Once upon a time, a poor young man went to a wise old man and asked, "Please help me to become rich." The wise old man said, "Close your eyes and think about the things you need to do today." The young man closed his eyes and started thinking. The old man asked again, "What were you thinking?" The young man said, "I was thinking about what I will do tomorrow." The wise old man said, "If you want to become rich, then learn to live in the present moment. Stop worrying about the future and start doing your work with full attention. That is the first step to becoming rich." Friends, this is the story of Albert and his son. It teaches us an important lesson about living a peaceful life. We often get upset thinking about our problems. But if we focus on the solution, instead of worrying about the problem, then our problems become smaller and we become bigger. So whenever you face any problem, take a deep breath, calm down, and think about the solution. This will make you feel better, and you will be able to solve the problem easily. Always remember that you are more powerful than your problems. Stay tuned for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.